Hi guys, and welcome back to another week of Championship predictions. Yes, we are back again. These videos come out quick and fast with obviously the midweek game and then the weekend games as well. Guys, a couple of things before we get started. I will get through these quickly. I first want to just say massive thank you for all the support that we've been getting at the moment. A lot of you guys have been hitting like on the video, commenting and subscribing. It does mean a lot. The other thing I've got to disclose is the fact that I'm sadly having to record this before the outcome of the Wednesday fixtures. I go on holiday tomorrow and I am heading close to the airport very shortly. So I usually wait until the close of the fixtures, but just because of a time thing, I haven't been able to do that this time round. But of course, we know a lot about what's been happening within the Championship already, so I can still give a lot of context to this week's videos. But if you're wondering why I didn't mention maybe you guys getting a massive 5-0 win, because, well, I'm recording it before I saw it. But guys, let's jump in straight into these predictions. And it is Birmingham who kick us off, who taking on QPR. And of course, two of the teams that did play on Tuesday night, so I can comment on their games. Blues obviously losing to Preston, but they didn't look too bad in the game from what I was seeing. You know, they were having good chances, and at one point they were on top, but then Preston did hit them with a few killer punches, and they did obviously lose the game. QPR drew to Swansea. It was a 10-man Swansea, actually. I wonder if they'll be happy with that result. It's not a terrible result, but, you know, they probably would have thought, oh, could we have got the win? I think this is going to be a good game, but I do think I am going to back the Blues with it being a 2. I've got to go 2-1 because the Blues are at home. I think they have looked the slightly better team this season. Let's move on to speaking about Leeds next, who take on Watford. And I think this is a Leeds team that are very shortly, if not already, going to start be getting into their rhythm. I think, you know, they had a very turbulent transfer window, but I expect that to change now. The one player I like the most, and I'll keep banging on about his name because I think he's such a good striker, and I don't get why a Premier League club did not go in for him before Leeds did, and that is Joel Perreault. I think he's going to be a really, really good signing for Leeds. It's another massive loss for Swansea, who we'll speak about obviously later on in the video. But I think at Ellen Road, they're going to have a lot. Coming up against a Watford team who, as we know, on the day they can perform well, but it is on the day. Want to see some more consistency from Watford. I still can't really figure out where Watford are going to finish in the league either. Maybe that's just telling me they're going to be a mid-table team. I don't know whether that will please Watford fans or they'll be against that. I don't really know what Watford's ambitions are now because, of course, they're another team over the transfer window. They did change a lot. The transfer policy changed a bit as well. And, you know, it's really hard to judge where they should be in the table at this time. I am going to once again back the home team. I'm going to go Leeds 2, Watford 0. And guys, one more thing, obviously, because I am doing this before Wednesday fixtures, I couldn't update you guys on the scoreboard between myself and Tom. And also Tom will be on the next video after this. We do need to do another video together, but I'll keep you updated with the up-to-date scores on the next one. Let's move on to West Brom, who take on Millwall. And I don't know on this one. It's going to be a very interesting game. Obviously, Albion have got the home advantage. Millwall probably not looking as good, I don't think, anyway, as they have done in the past couple of seasons. You know, they've been one of those teams that have got really close to the playoffs twice now. And you've always wondered, are they going to be a team that just go that one step further and get into there? Or are they going to be maybe one of those teams as other teams improve, slowly start to fade away just a little bit? I'm not saying Millwall are in trouble or anything like that, but it does seem at the moment anyway, that Millwall could obviously not perform as well as they did last season. West Brom, again, another team that I think have got a lot of talent in their team. I spoke last game about recording about how they're similar to Watford, who, you know, I want to see some consistency from them now. I do think, once again, I am going to actually back the home team. I'm going to go for West Brom to get this one done, and I'm actually going to say 3-1 in this scoreline. Let's move on to speaking about Leicester City, who take on Bristol City next. And Bristol City, very impressive win. 4-1 win, 4-1 victory against Plymouth, obviously on the Tuesday night. Yeah, Bristol, one of those teams, Bristol City, one of those teams that are going under the radar, so to speak. They're picking up some nice results here and there. They've obviously got goals in them. Very stable team. And I do think, they look a good team, but this is not going to be an easy challenge. Of course, they come up against, a Leicester team that are a very, very good team as well. We know how much they can hurt teams. We know the ability that they've got in their squad. And let's be honest, I think they kind of look like a Premier League level team, Leicester City. The way they handled the rebuild from going down, the players they signed, I think they should immediately come back up. It's not going to be easy in this league, but I think they should do it. And of course, at the moment, as at the time of recording, Bristol currently sit in 5th position. Obviously, that can change. And once you guys will be watching this on the Thursday, it will have changed with the close of the Wednesday games. But yeah, Bristol City look a good team at the moment. But I am going to back the home team once again, 4 for 4. Yeah, I've backed the home team in every single fixture so far. Leicester 2, Bristol City 1. I don't think it's going to be that easy a game, but Leicester will get the job done. Hi guys, just a quick one for me before we get back to the video. And if you've watched this before, you already know what I'm going to ask you. Hit that like button right now. And guys, a lot of you have been subscribing whilst watching these, but a lot of you are repeat watchers. You're coming back to the channel, but you're not doing me that favor of hitting that subscribe button. So if you haven't done so already, please could you hit that subscribe button too? It really does help the channel just push our content out and be seen by more people. And more importantly, it'll come up to you each week as well. Saves you perhaps having to search it, etc. So if you can, do me a favor and please subscribe. That'd be great. Let's get back to these predictions. Done. Let's move on to speaking about Swansea next, to take on Sheffield Wednesday. And two teams for me that look like they're probably going to be in the bottom half of the table at least. Obviously, very difficult start to the season for both. Swansea have lost some big players, as I've mentioned a couple of times on these videos. And Sheffield Wednesday, obviously great news for them coming up. But with the whole debacle of what happened in pre-season, with Darren Moore going, and then obviously, just the team in general, just for me, doesn't look like a strong championship side. It looks like more money should be have been invested in it. Or, not much more was needed to be done to make this team a really stable feature. They did, of course, get a result at the midweek. They did manage to get a point against Middlesbrough. Last season, that would have been a fantastic result, of course, but that's a very different Middlesbrough team now, and it was probably just really important not to lose them. I'd probably say the same for this fixture as well. It's important for both teams probably not to lose this one. I am going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Let's move on to speak about Rotherham, who take on Preston next. And it's not going to be an easy game for Rotherham, is it? Because Preston look fantastic. Once again, coming out victorious. They've got goal scorers. And they've just really had a very, very good window. I think someone on one of the comments actually said to the video log just didn't last. 13 signings, I think they made. They've really added to a very good core of a team, and they're looking a very good team in general. I don't mind Rotherham this season. I must admit I had them to go down at the start of the season. I'm not sure I'd say that now. They look like they can pull up some good results, and I'm not saying they're going to do anything amazing, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I think I even had them bottom, to be honest, to start with. I definitely won't be placing them there now. But this is not going to be an easy game. Preston do look very good and expect Preston to get the result. I'm actually going to go Preston 3, Rotherham 0. Let's move on to speaking about Middlesbrough next, who take on Southampton. It ain't looking good for Middlesbrough, is it? Let's be honest. The Championship amazes me, how one club can look so good one season and so dire the next. But I think that's just the nature of the game, isn't it, with the Championship? Obviously, you look back, Middlesbrough, they had quite a few loans. And if you don't then pull off good loans the next season or good signings, you lose a really good core of a squad. And essentially, that's what's happened with Middlesbrough, isn't it, really? We saw similar happen when Huddersfield didn't go up a couple of seasons ago, but things can change very quickly. Southampton, obviously, they're one of those teams. I still think they've got a lot of quality. I think maybe you could say that they should be doing a touch better than what they've done so far this season. They've had some pretty embarrassing defeats, but overall, I'd say they look still a good team. They've got good quality, especially for this league, and I do expect things to tick. It's sometimes when you come down, some teams just adjust well, like a Leicester. Some teams it can take time, especially when you lose some players. but they'll fancy the chances against Middlesbrough, and I think they will be victorious. I've gone Saints 3, Middlesbrough 1. Or is it not changing to the next slide? There we go. Let's move on. Speaking about Ipswich, who take on Blackburn next. Is that the right? Yeah. Sorry, guys. I think it should have been Plymouth versus Norwich. I'll probably put them later on. Right. Ipswich, who take on Blackburn. And this is, again, another really strong side in Ipswich. But it's not going to be an easy test against a Blackburn team. But I do think, once again, look decent this season. But, of course, this is an Ipswich team that keep on continuing to perform, keep doing well. They've got, once again, another win. 6 wins this season, only 1 result that ended in a loss. They're a very, very strong side. They're going to be difficult to come up against, especially at home as well. Do I think Blackburn can give them a good game? Absolutely. Do I think Blackburn could pull off a shock result? Would it be a shock? I guess a good result, I should say. Absolutely. But I have gone for the home team. I think, especially with how they're looking at the moment, I've gone Ipswich 2, Blackburn 1. I do expect it to be a close game, though. Let's move on to speak about Stoke, who take on Hull next. I'm wondering where that Plymouth one's going to come in. I hope I have put it on there. If not, I'll speak about you guys taking on Norwich at the end anyway. But yeah, Stoke versus Hull. I think this could be a good game. 2 teams which I said and felt would do very well this season. I thought both had good transfer windows. I thought both had really impressive transfer windows. And I think both still have the ability to be very high up in the table come the end of the season. You would argue at the moment, no, it's looking much more likely that it will be Hull who proceed higher up the table than Stoke. They're the ones that have kind of lived up to what I would say their potential is so far and are starting to get themselves going a bit. But I do think both teams do have quality and both teams can hurt each other. Stoke will obviously be thankful that they are the home team. I expect goals in this one for some reason, and I've actually gone for a 2-2 draw. Might be a little bit controversial. I think a lot of fans will expect Hull to maybe get the job done with how they've been looking so far. But sometimes you've got to trust your gut. When I was thinking about the scores, somebody just told me, Scott, 2-2. Let's move on to speaking about Sunderland next, who take on Cardiff City. And, well, I suppose Sunderland were goaded a little bit by their local rivals in the week, of course, because they didn't have the trip going out to Milan. But, Sunderland be happy with what they're doing in their respective league. They're looking good. They've pulled off some good results this season. And, I think they'll be all the way up there, quietly confident of, being all the way up there and getting back into the playoffs this season with the squad that they have. They've certainly got a lot of talent. And if you ignore their noisy local neighbours, they've got a lot to be, happy with at the moment. Obviously, only their second season back in the Championship after spending too long in League One. I imagine if you're a Sunderland fan overall, ignoring the noisy neighbour, you are feeling positive. Cardiff, one of those teams that, I think I thought they'd really maybe struggle a little bit more from what we've seen on the early doors. They're impressing me a little bit more than I thought, but I don't. Well, you never know in the Championship, but I just have a feeling they won't be one of those teams that, end up really high up the table. But I do think you guys will be safe. I think this will be another good game, but I am going to back Sunderland in this one, especially being at home. Sunderland 3, Cardiff 1. Let's move on to speak about, there it is, Plymouth taking on Norwich. This is going to be an interesting game because we know that Norwich can score. They've got a lot of threat, but Plymouth, they're a different entity at home. And I think that's where they could pull off some results this season. And I think they are getting to the stage where they do need to obviously start maybe pulling off some of these results. They currently sit, as I'm recording this anyway, in mid-table. Even after the results of the games, actually, they'll still, from Wednesday's games, they'll still be in mid-table. But only 1 win in the last 5. The other 4 results have actually been defeat. They'll be wanting to try and turn that form round at home, but they come up against a Norwich team, which will make it not easy because they have got a lot of talent. I think Norwich look a very good team this season. And, once again, a team that I expect there to be up there challenging come at the end of the season. I think there'll be some goals, though, for that, just because of it being Plymouth at home. I'm going to go, this is probably my maddest scoreline of these fixtures. Plymouth 2, Norwich 3. And let's move on to what should be the last game. It is Coventry who take on Huddersfield. And it's not going well for either team, is it, at the moment? Neil Warnock looks to have played his last game for Huddersfield. Played his last game, managed. I mean, it would be even more impressive if he was managed his last game for Huddersfield anyway. But he does want to get back into management. Be really interesting to hear what went on there with Neil. But whether it'll come out or not, we don't know, do we? But it does look like potentially it could have been because they're lining someone up. From what I've been seeing, rumours that Darren Moore will be coming in and managing Huddersfield this season. He'll be getting his chance to manage in the Championship. He probably expected to when he went up with Sheffield Wednesday, but of course things broke down there. He'll come into a Huddersfield Town team where he'll have to turn some things around because they're not looking amazing this season. And, you know, obviously it was unfortunate for Warnock that he couldn't finish on a high. But things aren't going well for Coventry either, actually. You know, it was 4 draws on the bounce and then they ended up losing last game's week. They'll be wanting to hit some form. And at home, I think they will do it. But I'm going to go for a narrow win. I'm going to go Coventry 1, Huddersfield 0. Guys, that is the Championship predictions for this week. As always, if you have enjoyed the video, please do me a favour, hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel and we'll catch you on the next week's predictions. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Take care. Goodbye.